another eminent speaker, Mr. Dr. P.J. Alexander, IPS retired. He is formerly Professor and Director, Institute of Management in Government, and formerly DGP of Kerala. I invite you to present your papers, sir. Thank you.
Your name is, you are chairing the session. You are chairing, no? Okay. Yeah. Respected chairperson, dear friends, I find this conference is focused on an extremely large area of human rights concern. Media and human rights, social justice, empowerment and women and children, human rights and sustainable development, practically all areas in which an average Indian is concerned today. I congratulate the organizers for having thought about these subjects, particularly my good friend, young friend, Advocate Prakash Thomas, who has sounded that this is a subject on which he is going to take a series of programs in Kerala and rest of India. I do not wish to talk on human rights, various aspects of human rights, because in the last about 10 years, there has been a surfeit of discussion on human rights. It is as if we have discovered human rights for the first time. I need mention only very briefly what happened between 1950 and say 1990. From the very faint contours of a welfare state in the preamble or the Constitution of India and Part 3 and Part 4, in the last about 30-40 years we have transformed the Indian state to something that is sensitive, and to people like me who are political students of political science, a caring state, a biased state, a prejudiced state. What is a state to a political scientist? State is a disinterested, neutral arbiter in the struggles of society. That is what the social contract has told us. That is what the utilitarians told us. And when the socialists and the Marxists came, they said the state will die away, wither away. But it didn't. So state was a neutral, disinterested umpire in the struggles of society, and it was trying to hold even the scales between those people who are parties in a struggle. In India, we have changed this position. The state in India is no longer an arbiter in the struggles of society, but a participant. It takes part, as between unemployed and employed, as between the landless and the land holding, as between the jobless and the job owning. State is always on the side of the deprived. This is not something that happened all of a sudden. We have been slowly pushing this idea. To a very great extent, we are beholden to the judiciary in India for this, the higher judiciary, the public interest litigation, judicial activism, and slowly expanding the threshold of Part 3 of the Constitution. You will know that in 1948, when the Universal Declaration of Human Rights was available, the Indian legislators were contemplating the Indian Constitution. They were very much influenced, but they were very pragmatic. Therefore, those rights which are absolutely essential, necessary, and which can be enforced were put in Part 3. And those rights which a poor Indian state cannot deliver on were put in Part 4. Then came, strangely of everything, the emergency. And that is a time when slowly the judiciary started whittling down all that was separating between Part 3 and Part 4. And in the hands of progressive judges like Justice Krishna Iyer and others, the threshold was pushed a little more, and today, I dare say, as a student of political science, that the Indian state is a biased state, a partisan state. It is no longer a disinterested arbiter in the struggles of society. So, human rights jurisprudence has come in. It is accepted. The state has provided infrastructural facilities and institutional safeguards. And today, as I was coming to talk to you, I found that the Center's Grievance Redressal Bill is also coming up. So we have the Right to Information Act, Grievance Redressal Bill, today or tomorrow a Lokpal Bill, today or tomorrow a Prevention of Corruption Act with teeth, today or tomorrow an opportunity for the state to be a little more transparent, a little more open, a little more accessible to people, and the difference between a colonial mindset and a democratic set will emerge in this country. From king can do no wrong, we have traveled a long, long way where, as in the court of Jahangir, if you go there and the nibble at the rope that is tied, the bell will ring and response will be available. So therefore, ladies and gentlemen, friends, the first part of my submission is that we don't have to push the case for human rights jurisprudence in India anymore. It is going to be with us. All that is required is tune in the civil society in such a way that we are really capable of, qualified to get the benefits of human rights. This is where I have my serious quarrel with people like me, people like him, people like her, and others, who all talk about part 3 and part 4, not about part 4A. My submission for your consideration is that in a vast country like India, teeming millions of people at the various stages of development, various stages of cultural, political, and educational abilities, the civil society has to prepare itself for getting qualified to enjoy the benefits of human rights, which we are not doing now. With your permission, let me read to you, because this is a section of the Constitution that is not really read. We teach in the universities, we lecture in the colleges, part 4, part 3, not part 4A. Fundamental duties, 51A. These fundamental duties are a charter of demand on the citizen. It demands from the citizen a certain type of behavior, a certain type of attitude, a certain type of preparation, so that he becomes eligible for getting the benefits of human rights. I would have very much like to read this out to you, but I don't have time. I'm already late for another function. Therefore, my submission is that in your discussion at a later stage, part 4A should be read. I'm sure my friend will do that. Read out and say that unless you have part 4A also read into the human rights jurisprudence, part 3, part 4, and the rest of it become immaterial, irrelevant, and you will stand yourself disqualified to get the benefit of human rights. Question: can you go and destroy public property? Question: can you go and deny to your brother his human rights? Can you say, as Justice Koshi said the other day, that the biggest problem in a state like Kerala is 2 rape cases and not the poor suffering masses? On a day of Hartal, how does a beggar live? How does a person who earns 100 rupees a day live? How does a person who is a vendor of vegetables, fish, flesh, how does he live? Who gives him food? Who gives his hunger? I look after, I am in the managing organization of a couple of old age homes. Who gives them water? You don't let vehicles go. You don't let doctors go. You don't get a pregnant woman go to the hotel, to the hospital. Whose human rights is all this about? Are we doing the right thing? On a day of Hartal, what is the great thing? Organized community. I was a member of the Indian Police Service. I am retired. My pension is much, much more than my salary. Much, much more than my salary. When I was working 14 to 18 hours, I was getting about 8,800 rupees. When I don't work and I cool my heels, I am getting about 80,000 rupees. Is it fair? And you went on, in Kerala, you went on for agitation for pension benefits for those people who retired in 2018 and held the civil society to ransom. You destroyed public property. You did not work. You did not people-led work. There is delay, administrative delay, delay in criminal justice system. All the components of the criminal justice system are dysfunctional. Police, my good friend, public prosecutor will forgive me, the prosecutor system, the judicial system, the prisons. Everybody is now, how I wish I were a criminal. All the attention we have been getting in the last 2-3 weeks in the press in Kerala was for criminals. Bandi Chor steals all the attention. Bandi Chor, all that. Then comes that person who is concerned in the Surinelli rape case. What is his name? That you get name? Dhanbarajan. Dhanbarajan becomes. Then comes Madani. Every criminal, everybody who is getting before the judicial, criminal judicial system, he is hogging attention here. Is this fair? Is this fair? He was harping about a blind child not having enough reading material. Why that is not focused? Why that is not focused? She will say that people are waiting outside judiciary courts number of years for their cases to be called, for their case to be argued. I know cases where 15, 20 years just to say that you are not guilty. You go to a police station, it is difficult to get a FIR registered. If an FIR is registered, copy doesn't come. If a copy comes, it is an illegible copy. Case is investigated because police are not independent, not accountable to law, they are accountable to political executive. Justice Krishna Iyer and myself worked for 2 years and produced a police bill. Told the government, this is as the Supreme Court has said in the Prakash Singh's case, 5 or 6 decisions, nothing more than that. Make them accountable to law. Give a police complaints authority. Let us have a security organization. Let us have a police establishment board and separate the criminal wing and the judicial, the law and order wing. Nothing is done. And they appointed a law reforms commission with Justice Krishna Iyer, an eminent man like Justice Krishna Iyer, who struggles for human rights even today at the age of 98. It is a treat to see that he lives for this cause. We sat together and produced a bill. Government went, appointed a committee of police officers and drafted a bill themselves. Now why? Malayalam അറിയാമെന്നവർക്ക് വേണ്ടി പറയാണ്, ഒരു തെങ്ങ് കയറാനായിട്ട് 2 പേര് കൂലി ചോദിച്ചു. ആദ്യത്തെ പകുതി കയറാൻ 50 രൂപ, രണ്ടാമത്തെ പകുതി കയറാൻ 50 രൂപ. ആദ്യത്തെ പകുതി കയറുന്ന ആൾക്ക് രണ്ടാമത്തെ പകുതി കയറിക്കൂടെ? രണ്ടാമത്തെ പകുതി കയറുന്ന ആൾക്ക് ആദ്യത്തെ പകുതി കയറാതെ കയറാൻ കഴിയുമോ? ഇതെന്താ ഇത്? So when we were eliciting public opinion, we were trying to cobble up something with the High Court judges, eminent lawyers, police officers of this state. They were also drafting it. We could have done it together. We could have done it together. Then it was a left government. The left government always complains the police are their oppressors. We told them, if you have suffered in the hands of the police, make the police accountable. Make the police accountable to the law, not to you. They won't. They produced a police bill which was dilated on every count. Dilated every count. It was just putting the fire races on the right leg, on the left leg. Absolutely no change. This one, Justice Krishna Iyer wrote to the Chief Minister saying that, yeah, I am leaving a copy here for you to peruse. He said, at least your daughter to go to a police station, prefer a complaint. Unless you go or he goes, many will not go. Why? Why? Is it not a public office? Don't I have a right to get my complaint registered? From there it starts. Shoddy investigation, suppressing of evidence, suppressing of information that is coming to them, indifferent investigation, case charge sheeted, ages it takes. What is the last case we are dealing with in Pathanamthitta? 10 years old? Easily 10 years. Much. Anyway, what I am trying to say is that police, prosecution, the lower judiciary, the jails, all the cogs in the criminal justice wheel are dysfunctional. Where do you get relief? Same thing with the revenue department. I wanted a mutation, which we call it mutation transfer in Tamil Nadu. The village officer told my staff, NSR ஒரு principal வச்சிருக்கு ஒரு 500 rupees. ஒரு principal வச்சிருக்கு. This is a principle which you have made that give us 500 rupees, then it is done. My man was horrified. He's the district director general of police, and he came and told me, what do we do? I said, give him 500 rupees. He was given 500 rupees, and we came back in the evening. The poker part-time was ready, and the man was standing like this, giving this. So where does the salary go? Where does the salary go? You may now ask, you are a police officer, why do you pay? I paid because I want to talk to you from first-hand experience. Is there any service that is available without paying a little bribe? You call it whatever you want. And the amount of I was a police officer, and the amount of money that is seemed to have been robbed out of the people of this country is so enormous that my mind boggles, my head swells. 20,000 crores, 300,000 crores. Where is this money needed? Why do you want this money for? In the case of the Tamil Nadu Chief Minister's friend, when we appeared for her bail application with the Supreme Court, my senior was asked by the Supreme Court, why do your client want 2,000 saris? Why does she want 4,000 pairs of chappals? 3 kilograms of gold. Where are they going to wear it? Now women are wearing it all over their ear, all over their hand. No wonder, you know. Boys come on motorcycle and just take it and go away. You are waiting it to be robbed. Why could you avoid wearing gold ornaments and take this? Don't give this up. Frustrate these fellows from taking your gold and take. One sovereign is giving them about 25,000 rupees. It is so much liquor and so much food for so many useless fellows. What is happening to our? Is it not our human rights to tell people don't invest on wasteful expenditure? About 6 months back, I was in a church-sponsored meeting where I said, I hope the church dignitaries will tell their people, the girls and the boys, they should not spend money on gold during their marriage. And the women also should not, girls also should not go with so much of gold, so that, you know, it is very easy prey for them. Everybody shook their head. But the man who organized it said, sir, you are treading on very dangerous ground. He said, why dangerous ground? Oh, all these church buildings and the big cross and all that is being by these gold merchants. So what happens? Nothing happens. So friends, I don't want to go on like this. I only want to say that on the basis of part 4 of this constitution, if the civil society is not going to prepare itself for being a responsible, honest, truthful, social justice committed organization, all these human rights will be of no consequence to you. It will be robbed from you. The bureaucrat will take it from you. The politician will take it from you. The middleman will take it from you. Therefore, my submission to you is that in these discussions that are going to take place in 2013, we must have this agenda, that civil society should prepare themselves to be just, fair, deserving clients of human rights jurisprudence. Without that, this is of no consequence. I would have been very happy to stay with you and answer some of your questions, especially when you get a police officer, you would like to kill them, I know. But I'm very sorry that I stand committed for a meeting this afternoon. So with this one submission, I really didn't give a paper, but I'll send you a paper if you want. I really want to say that it is very, very easy for us to demand things from the state, but the state has to be strengthened. Why don't you pay your tax in time? Why don't you pay your tax in time? Chidambaram says that he is having the 70,000 people charged for 2%. Why not 3%? Why not 3%? Why not increase it? You want good roads? Otherwise you quarrel. You say your human rights is violated. You want good drinking water. You want light. You want public transport system. You want medicine. You want doctors. Why you won't pay your tax? Where does this money come from? Where does this money come from? At the checkpost, they will not collect tax. The total amount of money that is lost by tax evasion and theft is enough for keeping everybody in India happy for the next 20 years. Everybody in India happy for 20 years. This is why Gandhiji very correctly said, there is in India everything for the need of people. Everything for the need of people. He himself set the example by wearing one loin cloth, nothing more than that. And he had the courage to tell King George, I am wearing this loin cloth because you stole everything from my country. Because I had nothing left. This is all I have left. This is all I have left. Therefore, because you stole, you looted things from my country, I have only this much. He had the courage to say that. So he said, there is enough in this country for the need for everybody, but not for the greed for everybody. If you are so greedy, why do you want this money? I don't know. I don't know why do you want this money, all this money from. 300 crores, 400 crores taken from bureaucrats, husband and wife team. They raided and found 400 crores. Where are they going to spend all this money? If for tomorrow onwards you are going to put a couple of sovereigns in your curd rice, even then it will be enough. Much more left for your children to be lazy, drug addicts, crime criminals. This is exactly what Srinarayana Guru said. Srinarayana Guru, whose name is associated with the area here, he said, Avanavan Atma Sugatthanajirikinnava, Avarende Gunathanayi Varenam. Avanavan Atma Sugatthanajirikinnava, Avarende Gunathanayi Varenam. Your neighbor is your concern. That is what Jesus Christ said, love thy neighbor. We put a rider to that. Love your neighbor, but let your husband not know it. That is not the neighborly love, he said. Your neighbor, who is your neighbor? He said a beautiful story, the prodigal sons. After the prodigal son, he said a beautiful story about the good Samaritan. Who is your neighbor? A neighbor is not a person related to you. Neighbor is a person who is a member of your party. Neighbor is a person who is not coming for drinking with you, for criminal activity with you. Neighbor is a person who is in need, who is injured, who cannot move around, who is voiceless, who is in need of everything. That is why he said in St. Matthew 25, come, enjoy the comforts of paradise. For I was thirsty, you gave me to drink. I was hungry, you fed me. I was naked, you clothed me. I was in prison, you visited me. I was sick, you comforted me. And they said, Lord, when did we do this to deserve this? He said, in as much as you did everything to the least of this, my brother, you did this to me. So the focus, my friends, is in India, not Mukesh Ambani, who is occupying 3,000, how many? 30,000, 16,000 square meters, and we only want 5 meters. We want 5 meters. 12 by 10. Nothing more than that. We don't want much. We only want as much as Gandhiji had. One loin cloth and one dhoti, upper cloth. Nothing more than that. We don't even want 3 meals a day. 2 meals is fine. 3 meals only if you can digest. What is the point in having 3 meals and going for a digestive tablet? Eat as much as you can digest. Food becomes poison when taken without consideration to yourself. Food may be free, but it is poison to you. So therefore, in India, a new culture has to come. Enough. People has to say, enough. I am not going to rob what belongs to my brother. If I have a dozen shirts in my cupboard and I see 3 fellows going without a shirt on, frankly, absolutely, honestly, I tell you, you're a thief. In respect of the naked shoulder of the person who is going through the door, and in as much as you got a dozen shirts stacked inside, brother, you are a thief. You are a thief. Now, human rights is to provide that dignity by which all of us become equally benefited member of a sensitive, just, free, fair society. We have to think that my brother also has to live. My brother also has to survive. And I'll be my brother's keeper. That is the beautiful answer. In the book of Genesis, Cain asked God, am I my brother's keeper? Down in the New Testament, Jesus says, yes, you are your brother's keeper. To will you go? Can I go to an animal? So therefore, in your discussions, in the consideration, in your deliberations about human rights, friends, take this plea from a person who has been actively working in a place like Cambodia, where for introducing socialism, Pol Pot killed everybody. Everybody. 2 million. Forget about the number, who has got the count? People with balding head killed because somebody told them they are intelligent. People wearing spectacles because they said they are intelligent. Civil servants gone, policemen gone, army gone. And the French, who were ruling it for 200 years, never thought that they should build institutional mechanism by which sometime these people will be able to run their country on their own. For that matter, I am very grateful to God. At 1600 AD, when Mughal Empire was collapsing here, the British came here and not other European powers and took control. And they gave us the IPC, CRPC and the Evidence Act, in which human rights which they did not give to their people in England is given. A confession given to a police station, policeman is not admissible in evidence. If you arrest a person within 24 hours, you produce before a magistrate. So much of the criminal law, which so much of the human rights which you are saying now, were all there in the IPC and CRPC and the Evidence Act. They were very kind to us, they were good to us. I have this weakness since I was a teacher. Once a cannibal, always a cannibal. There's no going back. As a teacher, you know, and you have got a passive audience like this, you would like to go blah, blah, and still blah, blah, blah. I'll close. I'll say that. Therefore, you people should go through Constitution Part 4A and put a mark putting you as the center of gravity and say, have I destroyed property? Have I paid my tax in time? Do I have a scientific temper? Do I propagate false religious values? Go through that, very simple. And qualify yourself to be beneficiary for the ever-expanding jurisprudence of human rights. The European Union has rewritten the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. The Asian Human Rights Commission with whom I work, we are thinking of redrafting one for Asia. Human rights is not static. Just as it is not negotiable, it is not static, it is ever expanding. It must expand. It must be flexible. It has to be pushed to the very extent where the lowest of the low comes within the ambit of the warmth of the center of the human rights jurisprudence. So prepare ourselves, let us prepare ourselves, the civil society, to be eligible, bona fide beneficiaries of human rights. Then only human rights will be real. Thank you very much for listening to me. Thank you very much.